So I believe we already read those mediums presented over here, means of higher, but let's read everything again just to make sure that I don't miss anything.
Okay.
And again, this is a part of the chapter in which Kardec is trying to give a qualification. He's trying to qualify mediums by their conduct, not necessarily by the type of mediumship they have, but how they use it. It's really a matter of the personality, of the moral and intellectual progress of the mediums, more than mediumship itself here, okay? So we can start with mediums for hire.
Okay. Mediums for hire, those who exploit their faculties. Ambitious mediums, those who, even though they do not actually sell their abilities, nonetheless hope to get something for them. Bad faith mediums, those who, despite having real abilities, pretend to have others in order to appear more important. However, we cannot label as mediums those persons who, having no mediumistic faculty whatsoever, only produce false phenomena through charlatanism. Selfish mediums, those who only employ their abilities for their own use and keep the communications they receive to themselves. Jealous mediums, those who regard with spite those mediums who are more appreciated and more highly developed. All these bad qualities necessarily have their counterpart in good mediums.
Thanks. Look, Kardec is very gentle with us when he called those mediums the imperfect mediums. Most of us would use a different word, something as bad, evil, or whatever. But Kardec picks the perfect word in this case over here, imperfect mediums. One may question, didn't they in the spiritual world, in the pre-reincarnation, get together and make up of the possibilities and opportunities or faculties that this or that spirit would have? Didn't they didn't they guess the possibility of those individuals, those spirits to whom this opportunity was given to come in with the physical disposition for mediumship? Didn't the spirits who programmed this, who orchestrated this possibility, didn't they know that those mediums you'd kind of misuse, you'd use that mediumship in a way that you'd consider to be wrong? No, mediums for hire, no, try to mediums would try to profit of this attribute to make use it as a means of material gains. Mediums who use that as a means of to fulfill their own material physical passions. They use the mediumship in a selfish way, in a jealous way, and all those things. Of course, they know that possibility. But you have to remember that mediumship is perhaps one of the greatest opportunities that we have to grow, to mature, as to have this open window to your good spirits, to your guardian angels, to interact in a more deep way that most of us non-ostensive heroes have. It is a tremendous opportunity. But every power, as we say over here, is neutral. It's not good, it's not bad. What qualifies it is the way that we use it. A knife in the hand of a chef is a wonderful instrument. In the hand of a murderer becomes not such a good instrument. So again, all this qualifications that Kardec gives to me over here is not really about mediumship. It's about us as spirits. It's about us having a wonderful instrument in our hand, and how are we going to use it? We're going to use in accordance with our level of moral and intellectual progress. So imperfect mediums is perhaps the right word to use in this case, because we are all imperfect. We may look at those as we read over here, say, oh my God, why did they do this? Why did they waste that opportunity? Why did they misuse that wonderful talent? And you have to question, have we done any better if we had those talents, those opportunities? Maybe we, the non-ostensive mediums, the average mediums that we are being protected from misusing the talent that was given to us. Naturally, as you read, you see, oh my God, these are really individual spirits who truly waste an opportunity. But, as Ron always says, every opportunity generates some kind of progress. Those spirits are learning, are progressing from these mistakes they are making. If they misuse their talent right now, they will learn important lessons from it as well. We don't have to read each one of them because it's very self-explanatory. There is nothing that we can add to what Kardec has said over here. No, bad faith mediums. Well, you are medium or not medium. You are medium or you are charlatan, period. Now, if you are medium, you use it in a good way, in an average way, in a very good way. There's another way out of it. And the same way that Kardec gives this list of mediums that misuse the talent in accordance to their ignorance, because we are imperfect. Kardec always brings the case and says that there are others that use it in a good way. So all these bad qualities necessarily have their counterpart in good mediums. Which are we going to see now? Any questions, any comments?
Guillermo, on this selfish mediums, the key word is only. So, but there are cases where the medium kind of doesn't feel comfortable to sharing the message. Like I assume that you're talking about psychography, because the psychophony is out there, right?
Yeah, psychography, yes.
Yeah. So so where do we draw the line in there? And also in this jealous mediums who are more appreciated. But what do you mean more appreciated? From the people around them, from the people from the group? Because I kind of, the more highly developed, I get that, but more appreciate, I kind of it threw me off a little bit.
I think only to the point that a medium or any one of us, any field of us, you start to look at others and make this comparative approach, you already have a problem here. Okay, if I'm I don't know, if I am a medium and I look at others and I feel that others are receiving better treatment than I already see a problem with myself here. Okay, but if there is a medium in a specific group who has multiple faculties, who can do quite a few things. And when it's time to receive very hard suffering spirits, that meter can handle. When it's time to receive a more enlightened message from a higher spirit, it's able to produce those psychographies as well. Has an ability of seeing. This medium brings a great degree of assistance to the spirits and to the group itself. So the whole group will certainly appreciate that medium for what that medium is doing for the group and for their work of assistance. And everyone will recognize that. Now, if there is a medium who does a wonderful job in, let's say, in the psychophony, receiving spirits and doing a wonderful job, but feels that the other medium who has other abilities receiving special treatment, there is a problem with that medium. There is jealousy over there. And that medium should question him or herself. Why was it come from? Is this one and only work? We're a group that we work together for the benefit of spirits, period. Each one of us using our talent to the best of our abilities, period. The one who has more talents due to experience or just for many other reasons will probably be more requested because it is able to perform more other things. And it's just part of the group. It's just another person in the group that is capable of performing different tasks. One should never think, oh, that person is receiving special treatment. Well, that person is being called to do more things because we know that person is able to do more things. We listen more to that person than another. Or perhaps that person has a lot more experience than most of us. Then we choose to listen to that person more than would listen to someone who has less experience. It's natural. If Devout come into our meeting and decides to be a part of the mediums, we're all gonna be in awe. He will be the center of attention. It's natural. It's just natural. And yet he will be one of us. He'll be another medium in the work of mediumship. And I'm sure that's how he will see himself. Just another medium there doing their best to help need spirits. But we would imagine that he would be able to perform things that most of us would not be able to perform because of his experiences, because of his many talents. So he will be requested somewhat more than others. And who would be jealous about that? Someone who really have a problem. It's just a natural process. And in a hospital, say in cardiology, a complicated case, you're gonna get the more experience, the more you best CT surgeon, the one who is able to put sutures on a beating heart. He's special? Yeah, he's special. He can do something that most of us cannot do it. But he's still a part of the team that's over there performing a procedure to save a life. And anyone who is jealous of that individual has a problem.
Thanks.
And when it comes to the selfishness, I think we talked about that yesterday, that the definition of work in the Spirit's book is the expenditure of energy, is anything that we do for the common good. Now, if I'm a medium, receive psychographies and put in the dryer only for me, what good am I doing? What's the good for others? What a waste of time, what a waste of talent. understandable, of course. A medium who is still in the beginning of the psychography has a little bit of a difficulty of sharing the work because it doesn't trust his work very much yet. It's totally understandable. They should progress. They should continue to progress upon they will be able to share that. To be able to progress, to be able to say, well, let's see with those guys what they think of this work. Is this, no, what's the nature of this work? And it comes with time. It comes with getting experience. They become more self-confident. At the beginning, all of us will be resident of share the psychographies they receive because we still kind of inexperienced yet, and we don't really know our potentials yet. I don't know even to qualify the work that we are receiving. Remember that Joan Janos told Duval to trash his first 1,000 masters or so, and he thought that was the most wonderful thing in the world. Even Duval had to go through a maturation period, to a growing up period. And old mediums will have to go to that period. And it's normal that you'll be more hesitant to share their work in that very beginning. That's not selfishness, but one will grow out of it eventually. And then you will become work because then you'll be doing good not only for oneself but for a group of people. Because if you write, put in the drawer only for yourself, what good is it? Why anybody do that? I don't understand.
Do you think when the medium says, this is something personal, for example, you think it's a good idea to keep that way, or you maybe, because some mediums, they share even something is personal, and they are, with the help of the group, they are able to maybe to correct something or get a different perspective with the message. So what are your thoughts on that?
But first of all, you have to know, to make sure that it's indeed personal. Is it really personal? Yes, personal. It's about me, it's about my particular life. It has nothing to do with the group, has not to do with the people around here. And then that person, you make a personal decision of share or not share. And that becomes a private matter. How much does that medium wants to open him or herself to the rest of the group? That's very personal. I'm a very introverted person. I believe that my life is a closed book, not an open book that is to everyone to read. There is one or another chapter that I may share with one or another person. My life is my life, and it's a closed book, it's not an open book. I don't know if as a medium receive a message that I consider to be personal. Likely I will not share it. But I have to make sure that it's really personal, because in general, messages coming from more evolved spirits have a universal value. Yes, it's personal, it's for me, but it is for me as much as it is for the guy next to me. It carries a universal value in moral teachings, encouragement, in consolations, and all those things. Usually, a good, true message from really good spirits has a universal message. So even if it's personal, it's about me, it carries the same value as the guy next to me. So therefore, I should share it. But if I read and I think that this is really personal, it's about me, my life, likely I would keep it for myself. But if I see that even if it has this universal content, likely it should be shared. Will I do it? I don't know, but I think they should be shared.
Yeah, it's a very fine line because
Of course.
I mean sometimes you even the the spirits that are delivering the message, you know, they're family members, so that makes personal. When you see the content of the message, you you also make a call that is personal. But when you decide to share it, after you share it, then you understand that it's for everybody. So it's a very hard call to decide if it's personal or not. So again, as you said, it's gonna be a medium's call in the end.
Yeah, because also at the end, we are very much alike. There is not that much of a difference between us. So things that are personal for one, it's also personal for two, for three, for four. We have so many things in common that what is the thing that is personal for me is also personal for you, is also personal for C and D and F. And we all would gain from that message. But I believe that a message that's totally personal. That is, I don't know, there's an example. My grandmother told me something about me, my relationship with my wife. I may not want to share that.
But maybe whatever it is will help another couple that's going through the same thing, right? That's why it comes down to your call in the end.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think it should be shared, but I don't know if I would be able to do it. That's what I'm saying. I believe it should be shared if I believe in the quality of the work, in the quality of the energies in that place. That most messages, like psychographed messages, have somewhat a universal value that is be good for many people, and in general, it should be shared. But let's assume that as a medium, I may have some kind of a problem with my wife, something very personal that I'm not sharing to the group, and I receive a message in that regard. I don't know, in my ignorance, if I would be able to share it.
Mm,
Thanks.
okay. Okay, continue, Elmo.
Yes, please.
Okay. 197. Good mediums. Okay. Mediums for hire.
No.
No?
I'm sorry, it's
197,
going
good
back
Okay.
and
mediums.
forth here. There we go now.
The yo-yo.
Now? No. Mediums for hire.
No, good mediums. Bottom.
Okay, we're starting. Okay. I thought you went up already. Good mediums, serious mediums, those who only use their abilities for the good and for truly useful purposes. They regard it as a profanation to put them at the service of curious and indifferent persons or for useless purposes. Modern.
Thanks.
Okay.
Again, those qualities given to the mediums over here, serious, modest, devoted, in reality is a representation of the moral intellectual progress of the eternal spirit, regardless of having the mediumistic ability or not. Having the mediumistic ability will reflect, you'll be like a mirror of the moral intellectual qualities of that medium. Okay, so a serious medium, the one who doesn't waste time with things that does not carry a moral or intellectual value, that understand that to be good is to assist. You know, you according to the Christianity, the teachings of Christ, to be good is to serve others. So you use this, you be serious and use the mediumship with that goal, with that objective, right? I mean, as Christ says, the sick doesn't need a doctor. The ignorant is one who needs teaching. So to be, well, I'm making this point here because a serious medium will do the work in a very serious manner. We will associate with more evolved spirits to produce valuable messages with universal content most of the time, but you also be associated with very uh, imperfect, evil spirits, so to say, because those are the sick. Those are the ignorant ones who need teachings. So a good, serious medium is not only the ones that are able to produce these wonderful books with extremely valuable, wonderful message, but it's the one also, a very good medium, the one who receives the most difficult messages and try to assist those spirits as well. And more important, understand, knows that it was giving these opportunities, received the talent to put it to work and to put it to work in the work of assisting, providing to others, which is, of course, directly a means of assisting oneself, of growing, of maturing, of practicing charity in its most complete sense. Comments? Okay, move on.
Okay. Modest mediums, those who attribute no merit to themselves for the communications they receive, no matter how good they may be. They feel foreign to the communications and do not imagine themselves to be beyond deception. Instead of running from impartial criticism, they ask for it.
Thanks. So, Kadak, so I put two ways of humbleness over here. Describe two possibilities of humbleness, and of course, the humbleness both together can be just one or another, but in two ways you see the humbleness here. One, they understand that they are an instrument at the hand of spirits. And again, we talk primarily of psychographies here, okay? They know that the work is not theirs, that the work of the spirits, that they are a intermediary of the spirit world and us. So they do not carry the merit of producing something because it was produced by someone else, this kind of spirit. Being able to understand that they are an instrument. Also, they are humble to understand that as an instrument, he or she may be misused. He or she may be misguided because you are not perfect. And you have the humbleness to present their work to others, to be analyzed, to be studied, to make sure that the work being produced carries value, should be continued, should not be continued. That requires humbleness as well. Here's what, 50 pages that I just wrote last night. What do you think of that? And to be humble to accept the criticism. Well, I read here 50 pages of wonderful words, but what is the message? I don't know. Well, you don't know because there is no message. It's just a bunch of beautiful words. And to be humble enough to say, oh yeah, indeed, looks like somebody was wasted 50 pages of good paper here. That requires humbleness. Because of and puts the medium at a very high risk that if the medium is not humbled enough to take this criticism, it places that medium at a high risk of become obsessed by spirits who will target pride, Pride is the biggest bullseye in the forehead of the medium that opportunistic spirits will never miss. Harmonies is very important, it's very protective for the medium.
Yeah, two-part question. First, I never understood people taking credit for a message, because if a message is yours, then you're not a medium, you're a writer. And if the message from the spirits, then you're a medium. It's pretty, I mean, not, maybe I sound arrogant, but it's pretty simple. But how can you be a medium thinking that the message is yours? And the second part, when you say criticism, can you, let's say that, a medium writes a message, a psychograph. What do you mean by criticism? Because most of the times, I understand that people, they, after the psychograph, they read the message and they do some comments, they say, oh, that's nice or not, and they correct some grammar, and I'm not sure. Can you give an example of the criticism?
Okay, let's go back to the first part again, the first medium first. It seems like a no-brainer, right? I'm a medium, of course. If it's psychography, it's not mine, right? It's basically a no-brainer there, right? Unfortunate, that's not the case because of our pride, because of our selfishness, because of all of imperfections. We want to take credit somehow of that work that was done by a spirit. We think of ourselves as being more than just an instrument, or we recognize as an instrument, but you want to take a credit for being such a great instrument. You see what I'm able to do with my wonderful psychography? Look at this wonderful work. I am such a great medium that I'm able to bring up those wonderful messages. Even if they accept that is work of the spirituals, is taken in a way, indirectly, no, pretty direct, is taking credit for it. And it happens a lot more than we know. You just see by the number of psychographic books out there that should not be published and being published. So what seems to be a no-brainer, you medium, not a medium, is not a sort of clear cut. Depends on who you're talking to, the level of pride of individual who truly wants to know, okay, ambitious medium, okay, mediums for hire. We just read about those guys, right? And then when it comes to the criticism, is if a medium come to one person or to a group of persons and says, this is the work that I wrote during this meeting, or this work that I wrote last night in the house. I'm convinced that it's psychographic. I'm convinced that I was used as a medium through an spiritual rite. I wanted to look at it and tell me what you think. You're asking for criticism. This is criticism. When I say, again, well, it's 50 pages of a bunch of very beautiful words. But what's the message? What's the take-home message here? No, there is none. Yeah, there is none, because that spirit just waste your time and 50 good pages of paper, and you are humble enough to read it yourself and say, yeah, indeed, that's the case. That was a criticism, a more proud media may not like that criticism, may even create some kind of message that is not there just to put some value to that psychography. Even to make, as I said, some corrections here and there, and the media may say, well, it's my psychography. You didn't get it from the spirit. The spirit tell that's what it's supposed to be. No, it is the way I receive it. It's the way I wrote that. That's what it should be. Mm-hmm. There is a lack of receiving criticism right then and there. So it's not that people are going to scrutinize your work, but you yourself, you present your work to others to see if it has good value. And if more people do that, there will be a lot less published books out there.
So I believe that pretty much, the way, it's done on a serious meeting should mean is all messages should be put into to be analyzed, and then the group decides if the content is good enough to proceed or not, right? That should be the right approach.
What do you mean to proceed?
In a sense of sharing with the other people, or because I believe that all messages, they will be at value to understand if it's good or if it's bad. If it's bad, message that will not be again, share or maybe putting to a book or whatever. But if it's good, then it can be used for something else. I don't
know. Yeah. I think when we read out loud or send it to others, we are in the indirect asking for the criticism. Somebody may approach the medium and say, well, Aaron, what I received over here, what I heard over here, I have a problem with. Or so it's really good. It really has moral value content. It really brings some consolation. It really brings optimism and things like that. Okay, it's in a very simple form, but it's very good. Or it's in a more complex form, and it's still very good. At the time that we read out loud, or you send, or via any media today, we are open to criticism, or anyway, we may be approached by one another and provide that criticism, or it may be collective together in another separated medium. What that could be discussed. It is different from someone just point fingers, say, "Oh, this work is nasty. Why are you doing this for?" The concept should be always constructive for the betterment of the work, and not purely to criticize without any higher objective. A criticism that is based on how can we better, how can we be more productive, how can we use our faculty in a better way, or continue the good work.
So in a serious group, let's call it the council, whatever, the people that are responsible for the work, will approach the medium, even though if it's open or not for the criticism, if something's off, to try to to comment or to help if they feel like something's off, right?
Yeah, like believed in a good group. If anyone sees a need to approach anyone for some advice, for some correction, or for some clarification, we should have, the group should have the ability, the peace of mind to do so, knowing that it's for the betterment of the individual and the collective and the group itself. If you don't have that in mind, then perhaps the group has a little problem. We should be able to interact with one another, and if you see a red flag, you should be able to come in and say, oh, I noticed this, I think this is a red flag, and they should be discussed. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not a red flag and I'm misinterpreting things, or perhaps it is a red flag that should be taken care of, and that makes everybody better. If your criticism it is with the good intention to make the work better, then even if the one who make the criticism is mistaken, that one make the criticism will also learn from that experience.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Devoted mediums. Those who understand that true mediums have a mission to fulfill and that when necessary, they must sacrifice their likes, habits, pleasures, time, and even their material interests for the good of others.
Thanks. This is a big one, somewhat kind of misunderstood one. And again, as I said here, to be a good medium is to use that talent for the benefit of others, as a work of assistance. It may be through psychography of wonderful messages, maybe to psychophony, to help others in many different ways. Some mediumships are at a higher mission. I personally, now and again, personally, I think everyone who comes with this open, ostensive faculty comes with a mission. But again, a mission is not to go to Mars. A mission may go to the next house, to go to the next neighborhood. Okay, they need have to be something gigantic to be a mission. A mission will be something simple. I think the faculty of mediumship, or ostensive faculty mediumship, is such a great opportunity. It's such complex things that could cause difficulties to the medium that I think is a mission in itself. Some of those missions, in order to be fulfilled, will require some sacrifices. We have seen mediums who does not establish family, does not have a wife and children, because their mission would be extremely difficult for their family. For the family to be able to share that loved one in such a way with so many, may not be able to maintain a lifestyle that is good, to have a family, to be always on the road, or be always with the house full of 300 people. And if my wife was a medium, she would have to do the mediumship outside, because I don't want 300 people in my house. So it may put limitations of all the other activities, and that is a sacrifice that a medium will undertake in order to fulfill that mission. And only the truly devoted mediums will be able to do that. Some would have to give up some social pleasures, alcohol, perhaps. You know, if you work with, depending on the kind of mediumship that you're working with, you may even have to seriously limit the amount of protein that you take in, and you might have to resort only for fish because the nitrates in it. So there's many other things that may require from the medium to make some sacrifices and have a lifestyle that is not through our values considered the greatest one, so to say. I have to put some limitations, and those are the true devoted mediums. Again, when I say that, you may go to you say the word medium, you may mission, I'm sorry, you may think there's something extravagant and extraordinary. No, a mission may be totally ordinary, and it still require a little sacrifice here there of some source, and that requires devotion to be able to do those big or small sacrifices. And again, big and small is relative, right? For someone not have a family, it's not a big deal. For someone not having a family is a tremendous sacrifice. It varies. But regardless, those spirits have been prepared for it. They're not be thrown here without any preparation, without any assistance. Be prepared and be assisted throughout the way. Okay, questions, comments? Yes, Carol, please.
Yes, Elmo, general question. I know that we have a guardian angel. However, would a medium perhaps get extra assistance, perhaps with a gatekeeper, sort of keeping the traffic flow at optimum? I don't know if this is something that's ever been discussed in Spiritism, but I have heard that term, the terminology gatekeeper for mediums. Do you mind maybe giving a bit of a response on that? Thank you, Almo.
Sure. I don't think that it's necessary to have a designated gatekeeper in the spiritual world to protect, to help that medium. I think its guiding spirit will manage that pretty well. Will be the manager of that gate. Will be the manager of that Buddha tunica. That's the terminology. Yeah, that allows that opening to the spiritual world. But we know that most of us, we have our guardian angel, guide spirit that assume that hard responsibility of be with us most of the time, help us, is the one that is kind of in charge of us. But we have many other friends. We have many other spirits who have no affinity, or who have sympathy or compassion towards us, so that will help us. But we have that guiding spirit, the one that is responsible, and that will the one who you'll be the gatekeeper, who will control the ins and outs of that Talabodica.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Almo.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we continue.
But again, that spiritual guide is a kind of the manager of it, but we are the decision makers. We tell who goes in and out, regardless of what that spiritual guide wants to do. We have the free will, and you make choices through a one. Sometimes, out of benevolence, they may close that gate to protect us. And we think, oh, you abandoned me. You not let me do my work anymore. And in reality, they are, putting a break, so to say, to protect that spirit, to protect that medium of getting him or herself in some serious trouble.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, just a comment. It's something that I share with the group a while ago, but after reading Emmanuel's quote on mediums,
What was the quote?
I even put on my phone. Just give me a sec.
It's okay.
Okay, I was here reading. Mediums in general are not missionaries in the common sense of the term. They are souls who have failed disastrously, who have greatly opposed to the curse of divine and redeeming laws, and then goes on. But sometimes before I came across to the message, I was thinking that doing when a medium does his job, he's pretty much helping. I mean, you are helping himself or herself in a sense, but more on a line of getting credits.
Mm-hmm.
And now sometimes you're just working to get the playing field even. So it will be I mean, we all have our free will and choice, but it would be a great mistake not work with this and try to help others and do the best you can with the mediumship, because this is an opportunity to, again, even the playing field with things that you've done in the past. So just a comment on the devoted, because sometimes, oh, this guy is devoted, is doing so much sacrifices and this and that, but when you open, you can see that it's not like that. You can just look on this incarnation, there's something bigger going on, and maybe it's not that a sacrifice, it's a great opportunity.
Yes, that's correct. And when Emmanuel says it's not means not a missionary in the common use of the word, again, that's why I say I'm not talking about being a missionary as someone who is being prepared to be the next president or to be the next, person flying to the moon, but a mission may be something as simple as receiving a couple of very needy spirits to whom we have some kind of association, we'll be able to help that spirit, or to be able to provide consoling messages, let's say at this time of pandemic. It may be that is the mission. You can receive messages of consolation, of faith, of fidelity with God, and this time that those kind of messages so much needed. It may not be 15 pages that be published and for everybody to read. It may be shared only on your neighborhood. They may be shared only in your family household when people are going to despair because of this pandemic. Those messages you bring that consolation. Simple things as that. I'm not talking about mission as, the grandiose things that you usually associate with the word mission and the missionaries.
Thank you.
Yeah, I find it really hard to believe that the good spirituality, the good go to the hard work of providing that very special talent to spirits, created that organic disposition, if it's not for some kind of a mission. But again, a simple, tiny mission, but it's still a mission. Because otherwise, there would be preferential treatment. Okay, I don't think I want to go to the next one. Well, we went over already anyway.
Okay.
Is there any more comments, questions? All right, so next week continue with this book. Hopefully we'll be able to finish it and start the part that I'm really looking forward to start is the development of mediums.
Okay.
Can you make the final prayer, please?
Yes. To our spiritual benefactors, our guardian angels, all that have come here and contributing to our lesson here of special mediums, understanding, putting all that we have learned in our lives to understand mediumship and to give to others who do not understand the ability to at least have a light of what mediumship is all about. We are so grateful, dear Father, for all that we receive here, helping and guiding us and assisting us in our lives here. We thank you for that. Thank you for the teachers and the spiritual benefactors. We continue throughout the week, dear Father, with our prayers and strength to all that are going through still the difficulties through this pandemic. We pray, dear God, that you assist us and help us throughout our days. For those in hospitals and hospices, those who have gone through their transition to the spiritual world, with our blessings and prayers, may they be guided with our guidance, dear Father. We ask that the spiritual benefactors assist all the teachers, all that have worked with us throughout the years. Protect and guide them, dear God. And allow us to come back again next week to continue our studies through the Spirit book and the Mediumship book. We thank you, dear Lord. And with that in mind, we ask permission to close our meeting tonight. So be it.